What if I told you there was one mental disease that was the only thing holding you and your business back? In today's video, I'm going to unironically give you business advice, but what you will gain will finally make you see why other videos may be keeping you poor. My first business was teaching social dynamics as a dating coach. I brought out my very first online course that made me my first million. It had everything you could ever know about social dynamics. There was around 40 hours of content in there. And for years, people would come up to me at my worldwide seminars telling me that they watched it, they loved it, but they have yet to take action. And that was a big WTF moment for me. Like, how come you like the program? How come you watched it for years and you haven't implemented anything yet? I call this the theory disease. It comes from a good place, right? You want to learn more, you're curious, that's good. But it causes procrastination. You procrastinate by consuming more and more content. As my mentor, Ty Lopez, always says, procrastination is the #1 killer of all hopes and dreams. And he's right. So here's how that theory disease is ruining your life. So at first, you're consuming theory, right? And you like it, and that theory leaves you with more questions usually. Now you have a lack of confidence because you're like, I need to know more. But that lack of confidence really is just disguised as perfectionism. You're going to tell yourself, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I want to do everything right before I start, which leads to more theory, which leads to more procrastination, which leads to, and now pay attention, too much theory that ends up contradicting each other. Now you're getting overwhelmed, and now you need even more theory to get clarity. Now what it should be instead is actually theory and an action. You learn something, you implement it right away. Money loves speed. I'm sure you've heard that before, right?
But Max, what if I don't know enough, right? What if I don't feel ready yet?
In order to overcome that lack of confidence, you need to do two things. Number one, you need to give yourself permission to fail, because failing is normal. All right? Unlike what the Hollywood movies are showing you, like The Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg, here's a highlight reel of him working and it works and now he's a billionaire. That's not how it works, all right? There's a lot of failure in between and a lot of moments where you're gonna doubt yourself, where you feel like shit, where you feel like you're the dumbest person on earth. Trust me, coming from me, okay? Number two, you need to understand that confidence comes from doing, all right? You cannot prepare yourself into confidence. You cannot wait for confidence to magically appear, right? Look, in my very first business all the way to this business, I've made between 3 and 5 million each and every year for my first business and now for my second business. I was never ready for anything. I'm a quite unconfident guy, contrary to what everybody believes. I'm not really confident, at least not in my inner dialogue. I know how to look confident, but in reality, I was never ready for anything. Do you think I was ready to speak in front of my first 250 people crowd when I was like freaking 22, 23 years old? No, I wasn't ready for it, but I did it anyways. So by default, I started doing it. I was ready, right? But I didn't wait to feel ready. Do you think I was ready to charge my first $2,000 client? No, I wasn't, but I did the action that I needed to take. You think I would? Every single video I'm making, I don't feel like I'm ready. I don't feel like I'm good enough. And maybe you're watching this now and you're like, this sounds scary, Max. Like, you actually have way less confidence than I feel. Like, I feel I'm ready. Great! If you feel you're ready, amazing. I'd actually prefer a little bit of naive self-confidence over the constant doubt. But if you're someone like me who constantly doubts themselves, do things and then you feel ready. Don't wait till you feel ready, all right? So naturally, you're gonna ask yourself, well, Max, what is the right amount to prepare before you take action? Nothing? Zero at all? Or what? Look, making money is simple, but not always easy, because you need to test and incrementally get towards what works. Sometimes things work out right away, but that's just luck, all right? It was exactly the same for my first business. Made my first million at age 26. It was a constant up. There was almost no down. Okay, sure, there were smaller setbacks on a micro level, get it, but overall it was pretty smooth sailing. Then I ended up making 3 to 5 million a year. It was pretty cool. Now my second business, the business consulting I'm doing now since 2019, it went well for the first 2 years, and then we had to suffer for 2 more years. I had to re-figure out systemization, sales team, paid advertising. These were all things I never really cared about because things were going well enough. But then I had to eat shit for 2 years and it felt really, really bad. But at the end of the day, it brought me to where I am right now. And people like you watching this are massively profiting from all the knowledge that I've gained from me eating two years shit, all right? Anyways, what's the right amount to plan? It's almost nothing. I barely plan anything. all right? I get a rough idea of what I need to sell and to whom, and then I go out and go the most direct route to my potential clients. Please cut out designing a logo, cut out building a website. You don't need a website at this point. Okay, I have a website because I'm making multiple seven figures, but in order to make 5 to 20K a month, you don't need a website, right? Most of the clients that we've gotten to the first 5 to 20K a month, they didn't have a website or a damn logo. And actually, funny enough, when we did create a logo for them, it was just like their first and last name in like golden letters on a black background because it like looks professional. Like that's basically it.
$49,000.
We made 11,000.
It was 20K.
10,200.
Having a business, starting a business is just a vehicle to deliver value, right? Point A, to a group of people who then pay you for that value. Point B. Everything else is just cosmetics. You can deal with that later once you're making money, all right? So theory, instant action. Plan almost nothing, and then just course correct. But Max, how do I evaluate the course correction, right? Like I'm taking action until it works, like how do I evaluate that? Now this part is very, very crucial. Pay attention, please. There are statistics that show that about 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Now I know in the coaching consulting space, I can tell you from my experience that that number is even higher, way higher. Now 5 years, that's a lot of time and work people sink into their dream of starting a business only for it to fail after all, right? And now pay attention. The reason why that happens is because people don't know how to course correct after they fail. So I really want to emphasize that here. The reason why most people fail isn't that they make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's that they don't know how to course correct after the mistakes. So how to course correct? I call this the tree diagram of course correction. The way this works is, imagine your business like a tree. Up there on the tree, on the crown, at the tip of the tree is the end result that you want, which is probably like having a thriving business with a lot of clients making money. Now from there, you just go down the branches and be like, okay, if I'm not making enough money, I'm not getting enough clients, what's the reason for that? Like what's the last step that you usually have before people buy for you? It's probably they're on a sales call with you, right? Or you pitched them something. Now, just look at those two branches. Either you're pitching to a lot of people already, but they're not buying, in which case the problem is you probably have to learn more about sales or you have to have a proper sales structure. Or the other option, the other branch on the other side is that you just don't get to talk to enough people. Now, if that is the case, you just move down one more branch. Why don't you talk to enough people? Is it that the conversations that you're having in DMs are not getting, progressing enough into a sales call? People aren't interested. That means you have a quality problem with the kind of messages that you're sending out. Or you're just not sending out enough messages. The volume isn't there. If you're sending out 2 DMs per day, it's unlikely that you're gonna get a thriving business from that. We usually recommend you send out around 20 to 25 DMs per day, and it doesn't really take that much time if you really think about it. In fact, let me show you real quick here what we're doing internally for our business. So every client that works with us gets to work one-on-one with us. So every client has a one-on-one concierge coach. That coach knows everything about them, has extensive notes on them, discusses everything with the rest of the team and so on and so forth. And here's a quick internal document that we're working with internally with each and every client to really find out what a bottleneck is that they need to work on, what the problem is that they need to overcome. I'm not going to go through it in greater detail. You can screenshot it if you want to, but basically at the top of this tree diagram, problem matrix, is the client is not making enough closes, right? Now we just think, well, what's the reason for that? Is the client getting enough closing calls? Yes. Problem is sales, just like we talked about. Is the client not getting enough closing calls? No. Problem lies in the DMing. Now, what are the potential problems with the DMing? The client isn't sending out enough volume per week. Client is sending out enough volume versus is not sending out enough volume. Maybe client is sending enough volume, but the profile isn't good. So check the client's profile. Maybe the client does have good profiles, but he's spreading himself out too thin over too many platforms. If you watch my videos here on this channel, I always say you just need one single platform to make up to 30K a month. You can watch some other videos on greater detail on that. Or a client is sloppy with their DM replies, that they would have enough conversations, but they just are sloppy enough to reply to those. So again, you feel free to screenshot this. You can go a little bit deeper if you want to. But in essence, this is how you can find out what your own course correction is. There is a problem, what are the potential causes, and then you just work one after the other off until you find out where the bottleneck is. Now, if you have problems with that and you're like, ooh, that's too complicated, Max, can you help me? I'm gonna put a link in the description down below as well for you to book a free call with me and my team. There's not gonna be a sales call or anything. We're actually known to really actually give strategy and really implementable advice for free because we wanna build goodwill up with people watching the YouTube channel and so on and so forth. So if you need help, if you're unsure where your bottleneck is, just book a call. We'll have a look at it and we'll literally know probably within the first 5 to 15 minutes of what it is that you need to work on. Now, I got one more piece of advice for you, and if you adhere to that, it will change the course of your life forever. I guarantee it. When you hear the story of my two businesses, right? The first one being easy, making me money fast. The second one, first requiring 2 years of grind and pain to really get me to the next level. Which one would you prefer? I'll tell you what I would prefer if I had to start over again. I would actually prefer 2 years of grind and pain because of the lessons I learned along the way. All right? You see, it's not about the money that you make. Kinda yeah, but kinda not. Even if it's $1 million, okay, $1 million spread over a lifetime isn't a lot of money, trust me. You want the growth, the experience, the confidence in yourself that makes you know that no matter what happens, you'll find a way out. No matter the obstacles that have been thrown at you, you survived every single one of them. That feeling is priceless. And it only comes from action and failure and course correction paired with never giving up. That true confidence that even though you don't feel ready, you got a pretty good chance at winning, that is what you actually want. And now that you have this mindset, and maybe you're finally ready to go from 0 to 30K a month or 3K a month or 5K a month, but you're not sure where to start. In this video here, I actually go step by step on exactly how to do that with all of the course corrections and failures avoided that I've made over the years, so you don't have to do them. Watch that now and I'll see you there.